Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first ODA Live. My name is Tammy Bednar, and I'm the Senior Director of Product Management for the Oracle Database Appliance. If you joined me today, thank you very much. This is our first ODA Live, and we're really excited to talk to you about the Database Appliance. So to start off with our first live broadcast, I thought we'd talk about patching because we're getting ready to release our next ODA quarterly patch. And I thought maybe I'd answer any questions that anybody has. The group chat is live, so please enter any kind of chat questions. I'll be happy to take those over the next few minutes. So part of our live broadcast is an opportunity to talk to you briefly. I don't want to make this really long and drawn out because I know everybody's busy, but I also want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions as well. So why don't we get started about ODA patching? And I just have a few PowerPoints just to kind of give you some information about patching. So first of all, let's talk about the Database Appliance patch. As you know, we put out quarterly patches to provide complete patching to the entire stack. That includes firmware, the operating system, infrastructure, and database. They are pre-tested for interoperability before we release them. By the way, from a security point of view, we have two different scans that we do with the patching before we release it with Nexus and Qualsys. So any of you guys are security conscious, just to let you know, we continue with our security with the Database Appliance as well. And the way that it works is that we put out a patch bundle. Now, right now, we have two different Oracle stacks. I call them the Oak CLI, which is the stack that came out with ODA from the beginning. And then we're starting to move into the what I call the ODA CLI stack as well. So there are two different kinds of commands, and very shortly, we will be merging all to the ODA CLI stack. Either way, you have a patch, a single patch. It may be broken into parts, but you have a single patch that you download. Once you download the patch bundle to your Database Appliance, you update the repository. And then at that point, you have an opportunity, first of all, to update the infrastructure. And the infrastructure must be updated first before you update really anything else. The infrastructure includes the operating system, the grid infrastructure, ILOM, BIOS, etc. Once the infrastructure is updated, then you have an option of applying the database PSUs or patches, or even upgrading your database to the next major release if you so desire. What I mean by that is upgrading from version 11 to version 12. Once that's all done, then you can also update the firmware. Now, right now, the firmware does require a downtime. We are very close to releasing rolling firmware, so that'd be great. So you will not have to take down the Database Appliance for the firmware updates. But at the moment, you just require downtime for the firmware. So that's really all there is to Database Appliance patching. However, there are two very important pieces of information I want to share with you. One is, where do you find information about this patch? The first location, this is what we want to call our single source of truth. Anything you want to know about the latest Database Appliance patch, go to the Oracle Database Appliance release notes. Here is the link. If you go to docs.oracle.com, and if you click on Engineered Systems and then you scroll down to the Database Appliance and click on the latest release, you will find a document called the ODA Release Notes. This has all the information that you ever wanted to know. So let's see if we can take a look at our Release Notes documentation. Let's see, here we go. To our window. This is it. No, yeah, okay. No, okay, stop. All right, I guess I don't have that window open. All right, never mind. So we'll go back to our presentation then. So if we go into the release notes, you'll see that there are several different chapters in the release notes. You'll find information on what's new. And that contains all the latest information on the database releases, the grid infrastructure, as well as all the different components that make up the database appliance stack and their releases. At that point, you can drill down into the individual chapters depending on which ODA model that you have. We have done a lot of work revising this document to try to make it easier for you to find the information about patching. So you can click down into each individual chapter on those models. With those models, you can find the patch numbers, you can find the known issues for that release to give you a heads up. So you can look at each model on how that patch is going to be applied or information around that patching for the model of ODA that you're currently running. In Appendix A, which is kind of new that we added in this last release, is Oracle Database Appliance patches. We've been at Oracle, or ODA has been out since October 2011, and so that means that we have quite a few patches that we've released over these 7 years. So there is, in this chapter, the Appendix A will explain to you how to patch to the latest release. So please take a look at that chapter. So if you're on a couple of releases behind, please take a look at this chapter on how you can patch the latest release. Now, the next release number is going to be 12.2.1.4. In order to patch to that release, you're going to have to be on a minimum version of 12.1.2.12 or greater to jump to the next release. So please take a look at that appendix. That will clarify which release you can jump to or jump between to patch your database appliance. The other location in which you can take a look at some information is MOS Note 888.888.1. We've really streamlined this MOS note to really focus on the links to the patches and to point you back to the release notes. So the MOS note is still out there that will help you find the patches of the latest release. Also, by the way, you'll notice that we have not only the latest releases patches out there, but also we have Oracle Database Appliance 18.1 software release as well, available as well. The 18.1 is a parallel release for the database appliance. This release will have the way you can use it is you have to run it either on either of the X6-2 SMNL or the X7-2 models. You end up re-imaging with the 18.1 release. This allows you to test 18.1 or 18 before it's available or before you move to the 18 release for your databases. But it is a parallel drop, and it allows you to either test out version 18 of the databases before you move your applications, or you can stay on that release and you'll be able to patch to 18.3 when it comes out in the fall timeframe. But please take a look at this MOS note. This will help you also look at the patches, but please also first refer back to the release notes for more information. So how do you apply the patch? If you go to the Database Appliance Deployment and Users Guide for X6 and X7, there's a chapter called Updating Oracle Database Appliance Software. This is where you go to find out how to apply the patch or update the patch on the database appliance. There's lots of great information, but please take a look at how you apply the patch within the documentation as well. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about on patching today is about pre-checks. We're trying to make patching a lot easier experience for you. And one of the things that we found is we need to check to make sure that the database appliance is in a state that we recommend to apply the patch. On the Oak CLI stack, what we recommend is you run Oak CLI validate and or check and make sure there are no errors from those outputs. Also, make sure that your disks are not in a rebalance state and they're all online before you patch. It's always a good idea to make sure that the health of the ODA is in a good state before you run the patches on the database appliance. Now on the ODA CLI, we have added a new pre-check or create pre-check report, pre-patch report, on the ODA CLI. So the way you're going to run it, and this is new with the 12.2.13 release, you would run ODA CLI, create dash pre-patch report. And if you do -H, you'll see all the different flexible output or parameters of this particular command. Now, here's an example. If I run ODA CLI, create dash pre-patch report dash V, which is the version 12.2.13, dash S, which stands for server. This will create a job and it will run in the background to run all these pre-patch steps, and then you'll get a report. So then once, if you do list reports or list your jobs, you will see a job ID of where we've run this pre-patch report. And so the next command you will run is ODA CLI create dash pre-patch report dash the version, that dash D and dash I stands for the job ID. And when you run that job ID or that command from the command line, you will see the job that ran for my particular ODA. And you'll see that it says validate all the different pre-checks. And we have pre-checks from the operating system, from the ILOM, from the GI, and then this report continues to look at all the different areas of the pre-check that we are checking. This pre-check will continue to be enhanced. We are in the process of also updating the web console so that you can see the pre-patches as well from the web console. So I recommend, like I said, this pre-patch reporting capability is available starting with the 12.2.13 release. If you want to do this pre-patch, you would have to update at least 12.2.13 or 12.2.14, update the patch to the repository, and then run the command to run the pre-patch before you run the server patch. Okay, so that's all I have on my on the PowerPoint. I just wanted to go back to see if anybody had any questions. Unfortunately, we don't have any questions at this point. I just was hoping to have everybody join me today, and this will be the start of the next ODA Live webcast. So we'll try to have our next one. We'll target July the 24th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We will also record these so you can go back and take a look at it as well. It's 8 o'clock here at headquarters, so I'm still drinking my coffee. I hope you enjoyed this live webcast to talk about ODA. If you have any questions, please ask them. Be happy to take a look at them and answer them live on air as well. And also, if you have any suggestions on topics that you would like to talk to about on ODA Live, please send me an email at tammy.bednar@oracle.com. So to the rest of you, I hope you have a great day. Good luck with your ODA patching, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.